So today I want to talk about one of my favorite things to talk about, and I talk about this with my friends and family and people like that, and that is money. We're going to talk about money, people.
Dollar bills, y'all.
And specifically, we're going to talk about how my wife and I got out of debt, because when you're trying to achieve financial success, one of the first things, or the first thing that you should do, is to make sure that you are out of debt. At least that's what I've learned. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So just to give you some context, some of the things that we had to pay off were a car note, some student loan debt, credit card debt. We had to pay for a wedding ring, or I did. And this is all in the midst of paying for a wedding, going on a honeymoon, buying a house, and at the time, my wife started a master's program. So we were able to pay off about $50,000 of debt in about a year, maybe a year and some change, you know, a little extra bag of chips. And that isn't even including the wedding and the honeymoon that we went on. So I want to tell you guys how we did it, and there's about 4 different things that I want to talk about specifically. Thing number 1, the most important thing before you start your get out of debt journey, just in my humble opinion, is you need a budget. Now, budgeting to me is a critical foundational practice that you need to begin in order to get out of debt. It forces you to look yourself in the mirror. It kind of gives you a bird eye view of how your money is flowing in and out. And once you have that clear view, you can kind of adjust accordingly and kind of get a better picture and a better understanding of what it is you need to do exactly. And the way I did my budget is basically I listed all of the things that I needed to pay, all the bills that I needed to pay. If I knew Christmas was coming up or someone's birthday, anything like that, I budgeted for that. And then of course, you also need to put your debt on there. How much debt do you have? How much are you paying it off? And you can even calculate how long it will take you to pay it off based on what you're currently doing. And just keep in mind, when we say budget, you know, that makes people feel, I guess, bad or feel some kind of negative way. And a budget isn't a negative thing. A budget is literally you taking control of how you spend your money. So don't be afraid to budget, man. The budget is, don't sleep on the budget. The budget is that thing. And if you're interested, maybe I'll share my budget sheet with you guys. But I mean, I can talk about budgets all day. I'll probably mention it throughout this video. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know down below. So once I got together my budget and I was able to see how money was coming in, how money was going out, what I needed to adjust, what I needed to move around, if I had extra money, if I needed to make more money, you know, all those little things, I went to the next step, which is making sure that I had an emergency fund. Now, the reason I recommend starting with an emergency fund, and I've heard a lot of financial advisors talk about this. I am not a financial advisor myself, but one of the things that they say is this helps with unforeseen things that may come your way. And I mean, we're all adults and we've all had unforeseen things happen to us. Maybe you had to get something done to your car. Maybe your brakes needed to be replaced. Maybe if you own a house, maybe there are some repairs that need to be done. Something stopped working. Maybe a family member, you know, unfortunately passed away and now you got to buy a plane ticket. If you start your get out of debt journey and you don't have an emergency fund, all those things kind of set you back. And let me tell you a story about what happened to us. During the first year we moved into the house, our furnace stopped working. It was winter and it absolutely sucked. And so I had someone come and look at it and found out that I needed to get a new furnace. And I had just switched warranties, so they weren't gonna cover it. So we had to pay for a brand new furnace. And let me tell you something. I never knew how much furnaces cost. I know now. But the good thing about that whole situation is I already had an emergency fund. And when the furnace went out, I was able to pay for it in cash. I didn't have to go further into debt. I mean, think about it. If you don't have that emergency fund, something happens, then you take away from what you can put towards your debt and you have to put it towards that thing. And if that thing is really expensive, it can even put you deeper down into debt. And you don't want to do that. So an emergency fund is important. It's kind of like that risk management factor. Take care of that. I would at least save $1,000. I saved a little bit more because I'm paranoid and I want to make sure I have enough to cover things, but I would at least save $1,000 or whatever's comfortable for you. It's just my opinion. Do what you want to do. Now, the next thing that we did, and I think this was super monumental in us getting out of debt quickly, is we increased our income. Now, there's a couple ways you can increase your income, and maybe you can get a promotion on your job. Sometimes though, promotions, you have to wait for them. Sometimes with promotions, you're not getting that much. Maybe they're only adding, maybe an extra 100 or 2 in your check. And not saying that's nothing. If you give me an extra $100, I'm gonna be happy. You know what I'm saying? That's extra chicken nugget money. But if you want a little bit more, I would recommend doing what we did, and we actually got second jobs.
How many jobs you got? One job! One job and you call that fever? Get up and help out with other patients.
My wife worked at the gym for about a year. I worked at a military uniform store for Marines. Not only that, I learned a new skill. I became a videographer and a video editor, and I was able to use that skill set to earn some more money, make extra cash, and be able to put that towards my debt too. So yeah, I would say increase your income, get a second job, learn a new skill and use that. There's a lot of different online things you could do now. And if you have a crazy life and it's just hard for you to actually physically go to a second job, but make it happen. Every little thing counts. Even an extra $50 a month could help you get out of debt a lot quicker than not having that extra $50 a month. And so the last thing I want to talk about is just the debt snowball. I kind of learned this method from Dave Ramsey. And so if you've never heard of it, I'm going to explain exactly what it is. So with the debt snowball, what you want to do is you want to take all your different debts and you want to line them up from smallest to largest. Once you've done that, you kind of want to take note of what the minimum payments for each of those debts are. Then what you're going to do, and we're going to go right back to budgeting, is you're going to take your budget and you're going to see where you have extra money, how much, and you're going to apply that extra money towards the smallest amount of debt. So you pay your minimum plus the extra amount, and you do that until that smallest amount of debt is wiped out. Then you take that amount and you add it to the minimum of the next highest debt amount, and you pay that off, and you just keep that going and going and going until you have this big snowball of money just kind of knocking your debt out the way. So I don't know if I explained that well, so let's just do it like this. Let's say you have 3 different debts out there, okay? You have a $500 debt, you have a $2,000 debt, and then you have a $5,000 debt, okay? And let's just say, for the sake of math for my brain, because I'm not good at doing quick math, let's just say you have a minimum payment of $50 for each of those debts. And in this hypothetical situation, let's say you found out that after you did your budget, hey, we have an extra $100 a month that we can put towards our debt.
Get that money.
So what you would do is you would take the $100, add it to the $50 minimum payment, so you're paying $150 on that $500 payment because that's your smallest amount of debt. Once you've done that, it should only take you a few months to pay off that debt. So once that debt is paid off, now you have an extra $150. So now you could take that $150 and you can add it to the $50 minimum payment that you're paying towards your $2,000 debt. So now you have $200 and you're paying that off. Once that's paid off, you take that $200 and you add it to the minimum payment of $50 on your $5,000 debt. And now you're putting $250 towards your debt every month. So what you're essentially doing, like I said before, is you're kind of making this snowball and it's getting bigger and bigger. And that's why you start off with the small one. So by the time you get to the biggest debt, the largest debt, you have, just a bigger snowball to throw at it. So you're knocking it down a lot quicker. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I wanted to share with this video. I didn't want to get too detailed and complex, but I just kind of wanted to share some things that my wife and I did in order to get out of debt pretty quickly, in hopes that if you're someone looking to get out of debt, that maybe this can be an inspiration, or maybe I said something practical that you can apply to your life and it'll help you get out of debt pretty quickly. And yeah, if you have any questions, or if you want me to dig deeper into anything that I talked about today, let me know and I would love to talk about it. I actually really like talking about money. I am not like a financial guru, but I just really like figuring things out because I want to make sure that my family is set up for the future. I think getting out of debt is super important. Financial freedom is super important. These are things that are important to me because I love my family, and I think us achieving those things is going to help me better take care of my family and just going to give my family a happier life. So Anyways, yeah, I'm hungry. Popeye's got the new nuggets out, so I'm gonna go get some nuggets now. And I'll see you guys in the next video. It's your boy K-Soul. I'm out of here. Peace.